Anxiety has a strange feature that most other emotions don't share. It's almost never about what's happening right now. It's about something that hasn't happened yet, might not happen at all, and that you're bracing for anyway, as if it's already occurring. That single detail is actually the key to understanding anxiety, and it's exactly where Stoic philosophy has something specific and useful to say. Today we're looking at what anxiety actually is, why the Stoics were unusually well equipped to address it, and a practical method for working with it. Not eliminating it, working with it. Let's start with what anxiety actually is, mechanically. It's your mind projecting forward into a future it cannot see clearly, and reacting to that projection as though it were current, certain reality. The body doesn't fully distinguish between an imagined future threat and a present one. Your heart rate rises. Your attention narrows. Your system prepares for something that, in most cases, is not currently happening. This isn't a character flaw. It's a survival mechanism doing its job, just often firing on uncertain, imagined futures rather than immediate physical danger, because modern threats are mostly abstract instead of physical. Here's where the Stoics become specifically relevant, because they identified something crucial about this mechanism nearly 2,000 years ago. Seneca wrote a line that describes anxiety almost perfectly. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. He wasn't dismissing anxiety as fake or unimportant. He was pointing at something precise, that the suffering anxiety produces is often larger than the suffering the actual feared event would produce, if it happened at all. This matters because it reframes the target. You're not just afraid of the event. You're suffering from the anticipation itself, which is a separate and often larger source of pain than the event you're anticipating. The Stoics also had a specific practice for this, called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of adversity. This sounds, at first, like it would make anxiety worse, deliberately imagining bad outcomes on purpose. But the actual mechanism works differently than you'd expect. The practice isn't vague, spiraling dread. It's a structured, deliberate examination. Picture the specific feared outcome clearly, once, and then ask directly, could I actually survive this? What would I specifically do if it happened? Vague anxiety avoids looking directly at the feared outcome. It circles it, glances at it sideways, never actually examines it. Premeditatio malorum does the opposite. It looks straight at it, on purpose, under your control, rather than being ambushed by it involuntarily at 2 a.m. Most people who do this exercise honestly find something specific. The imagined catastrophe, examined directly, is almost always more survivable than the vague dread suggested. Vague dread has no edges. A specifically examined fear does, and edges can be planned around. There's a second piece worth adding, directly from the dichotomy of control. A significant portion of anxiety is spent on outcomes you have zero ability to influence, other people's decisions, uncontrollable events, the distant future. The Stoic move here isn't to stop caring about the outcome. It's to sort your mental energy specifically toward the part of the situation that's actually yours to affect, and to consciously set down the part that isn't. This doesn't remove the uncertainty. Nothing removes genuine uncertainty, but it stops you from spending finite energy gripping a variable you were never going to be able to move anyway. Here's a practical version of this you can use. First, when anxiety appears, name specifically what you're afraid will happen. Vague dread and specific fear behave very differently once you actually name the second one clearly. Second, ask honestly, is there an action available to me now that would actually reduce the chance of this happening or better prepare me for it? If yes, take that action. That's the within my control portion, and it deserves your effort. Third, for the part that remains uncertain regardless of what you do the premeditatio malorum exercise once, deliberately. Picture the specific outcome. Ask what you would actually do if it happened. Answer honestly. Fourth, once you've done that examination, treat continued spiraling as information already processed, not new information still arriving. You've looked directly at it. Repeating the loop isn't gathering new data anymore. This won't make anxiety disappear, and that's not actually the goal. The goal is closer to what Seneca was describing, reducing the portion of suffering that comes purely from unexamined anticipation, which is often the larger portion, while leaving the genuinely useful, action-directing portion of the feeling intact. Anxiety, examined honestly, is often pointing at something real worth preparing for. The Stoic method doesn't ask you to ignore that signal. It asks you to actually listen to it once, clearly, instead of letting it run in the background indefinitely, unexamined and undirected. Look directly at what you fear. Ask what's actually yours to do about it. Do that part. Set the rest down. That's not the elimination of fear. That's fear, put to use, instead of left to run wild. I'll see you in the next one.